What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4. I'm hoping this will be the last episode, but I'm really not too sure. We have about 60 units, all modern tanks, titled the U.S. Defense, are all swinging down into the Yucatan Peninsula in southern Mexico. And the idea is we now actually have a pretty formidable force. We are still lacking some modern tanks, but if we take a glance at our U.S. defense, we've got a lot of mechanized, we have a lot of modern tanks, much more than before. So I'm hoping that with this push, we could actually start making some progress. We're down to 1.4 million manpower, and while we're taking a look at the participation, we have 32% war participation, Japan has 32%, and the German Reich has about 28% as well. So ultimately, I don't know what we're going to be able to take. Hopefully we can keep all of France. I don't know if that's a viable option. Germany's going to try to take the UK. I would like holdings in Africa, but eventually we're going to have to grow those. Alright, everybody's starting to make some bites out of the US and out of Canada. I see that the Ottomans, or the Neo-Ottomans, what are they called? I can't click them. The Turkish fascists, the Neo-Ottoman Empire, slowly making their way over. Did my war tank, my modern tank, ever shift its way over? Yes, it did. I see the German Reich is now pushing their way into Florida, which is good news. Everybody's still gaining some experience with every day that goes by. Also, every day that goes by, we're getting more and more mechanized. We're building about 36 a day, I think. And the idea is it's going to take about 165 days to get all of these done for. It says we're getting technically 1.5 to 5 a day, which I don't know if we're losing that many to our war games. Modern tanks were producing roughly 20, even though before we were producing 40 a day. Okay. Alright, not bad. Much like I said before, I do want to go ahead and remove all of these naval battles, but it's just seemingly useless to go ahead and remove every single one. Before, you could, on the top of the screen here, just right-click on naval battles and then they would all go away, but I don't see that option anymore. Venezuela has capitulated to the United Kingdom, which is very surprising. And it looks like the German Reich did take the Panama Canal. They succeeded where we failed. Are all of our troops still pushing on over? This is the last actual modern tank division. And then we will continue to exercise, continue to gain some experience. I need more mechanized, and I wish that this would go better, but I don't really see any other option to do so. We have a lot of broken factories. Let's go ahead, deploy these units, and add you to the Italian theater. Where are these 35? Let's actually take a few of these guys as well. Not many, but hopefully 5 or 8. Let's take 9. Okay, looking at our resistance to occupation, where is most of the resistance? I'm guessing Africa. We have nothing in Africa. That doesn't make sense. Alright, well these 21 will make their way over, and you are going to garrison on up in these areas. And the idea is to basically provide some suppression, so we don't really lose any of these factories. You're going to make your way over. Let's give you this general. And we are going to change you to the color white, so that way we know this will be our U.S. military police force. Man, this is like the longest campaign. I really want this to end, but at the same time, I don't want another failure. Now that we actually have the Yucatan, I wouldn't really call our second naval invasion a failure. The first one was just outright ridiculous, because we lost 72 divisions in, like, pretty much one operation. Research slots available. Once again, let's get the undersea blockade. And nothing else we can really do. We don't really want any heavy fighters, but we could probably... Yeah, I don't even want to do that. It's almost 1950, so I guess we could unlock the better jet fighter. Almost called it a rocket ship. Alright, still waiting on a lot of this mechanized. Still waiting to do some repairs. And it looks like most of these are inside Mexico City, as we have 100% resistance.
Si, signore.
But our actual units are making their way over. And they're almost there, almost halfway across the Atlantic as we speak. Some are arriving now. That's my modern tank. But everybody's gaining some experience. I would like them to be as strong as possible before we hit the ground running. They're slowly being trained. Some are obviously still green, which makes me sad. They have a minus 25% penalty.
Formazione.
And I'm wondering, should I begin a very light push all the way through Mexico? I think I'm going to try, though this might end badly. We have 29 units. Some are working, some are not. All we really got to do is push. And eventually their production is going to be hindered. Because, yes, they do have about 15 million manpower. But the idea... Now it's down to 13 million. The idea is this factory output is just going to be hindered so much. The fall of New York, a significant development. There was a naval invasion on New York. And they weren't defending it. That is ridiculous. I wish it was this easy for us. Well, at least all of our troops are basically making their way over. Let's go ahead and reposition some of these guys. Like this. And yes, we're still gaining experience. Yes, some of these units are green. Which I don't like either. Are any of them actually trained? No. Though we have some that are very close. 93%, so in about 2 weeks, they're going to be trained. Looking at trade, it looks like we're not getting the oil we need. Though we have 82 oil now, which makes me a little concerned. I wonder where that all came from. Probably Mexico. Are any of our military police arriving anytime soon? No, because I don't see them at all. There they are, all the way up near Bermuda.
Comandi.
Alright, still looking at all of these units. Some of them are still green. I wish they would hurry this up, but it would have been a lot easier had I not have deployed them to begin with. They probably would not have lost as much equipment. And about one more day, and then this guy will be trained, and then therefore nowhere near the next level. It should be about 2 more days, and then we're going to go from level 2 to level 3 and have a positive 25% difference. There it is. We are now regular. So the idea is we are technically 50% better than green units. Alright, we've got some extra broken factories. Don't really know what we're going to build. Let's get more mechanized. We are no longer producing any planes, which I kind of forgot about.
Formazione.
Finally getting more and more regular units. Though we only have 3 right now. And now we have 6. Okay, let's get a few more military factories inside France. I'm just going to shift-click these. So that way we build out our maximum number. And all of these could go down because we don't really need to worry about repairs or synthetic refineries. There's so many repairs that need to be done. And part of me just wants to go ahead and continue or at least start my push. Let's do something like this. That might be a little too close on both sides, but I think we're going to do it. Everybody's still exercising. Everybody's still gaining some experience. And also, about 39 days till we have the backhand blow. You know what? I hate to say this, but I think on the 22nd of October, I'm finally just going to go ahead, stop training. Well, I would like these guys to finish up, but I think it's going to be a little bit too long. Every day that goes by, we're obviously gaining more and more experience. Though, it looks like the U.S. is slowly gaining force, which makes me nervous. Do I want to build better infrastructure? I think I'm going to get this to level 10. Maybe just level 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do something like that, and then shift these to the top. It won't take that long to build. 3,000 construction cost versus 7,200 construction cost. So technically we could get about, half a military factory in the time that our infrastructure would be done.
Pronto all'azione.
Alright, it's the 22nd of October. I guess my question is, if I wait another week until the 30th, at least some units are going to flip on either to trained or to regular units, which would be pretty good. So, waiting until the 30th, I guess. I would really like the strongest fighting force imaginable, but, we might not make it until then. Let's actually stop exercising now, and our new battle plan is basically to push our way to the front line. That recovery speed is going to be nice, it's going to be useful, and what we're going to do is push on into Texas, and hopefully be successful this time. Try to remove all of Texas, and let's also try to remove all of Arizona. Let's activate when we're ready to go. I'm really, really hoping that we are going to continue our modern tank build-up. We're lacking mechanized, we're lacking infantry equipment. Man. I need so much of everything. So, instead of building more mechanized, I think we're going to build infantry equipment, and then push that to the very, very top. Did our military police ever arrive? Yes, they did. So that means these are going to be repairing themselves slowly but surely.
Si, signore.
Alright, everybody's slowly making strides, or at least trying to.
Formazione.
I need better infrastructure. I need a lot of everything. I would like this radar station. It's level 4, and we could build it up to level 5. Let's push that to the top. We don't really have much of an air force anymore. But we could. Let's do this. Let's put on a bunch of jet tactical bombers. We could have up to 1,000. Let's do 900 just to make sure that we don't go over our limit. And now we're going to start bombing the heck out of Southwest Texas. If I took this airbase, I could easily put some fighters on it.
Non fermatevi.
We're pushing, but it's going slow. Alright, you're going to arrive on the 10th of November. Do we have any extra areas to throw our fighters down? It looks like we had a lot of planes in the Yucatan, but we obviously destroyed those. Not destroyed them, we removed the air wing. I want this airbase. That's my number one, my next priority. Still building up a lot of the infrastructure in Chihuahua. And some other places. Let's move those to the top. Yeah, we need to improve those. Because we have a lack of resources flowing into the area, which I don't like. We now have the airbase, which is good news. Let's throw on some fighters, preferably 1,200. And 200 are going to go over Mexico. 200 are going to go over the Southwest. And most of those are probably going to be fighters. I don't know. They are actual, not jet fighters. They're regular fighters. I wonder. We have 1.9 thousand fighters. And we have 105 actual regular fighters. So I see jet fighters and fighters. Eventually we'll probably switch those around to producing jet fighters again. Well, we are making progress, which I'm happy to announce. We have a lot of resource issues, I'm guessing, inside a lot of these areas. Let's build 10. Let's build 10. And let's build 10. These are all military police, of course. And the idea... Oh, do we lack supplies? We lack so much infantry equipment. Oh, my goodness. Which probably means we're going to lose units now. I think what I'm going to do is do this. And then try to produce more motorized. Unfortunately, it's not really that necessary anymore because we have 13.9 thousand. Infantry equipment's probably going to be our #1 priority.
Si, signore.
And I don't really want these guys to push, so I'm gonna have them stop activating their plan. Philippines has capitulated. We're still pushing into Texas. The Japanese have 18 divisions inside Mobile. New York was retaken. But it would be pretty cool if I could also continue my reach. Still building up a lot of the infrastructure. I would like everything to be like level 5, but I'm guessing level 4 will be good for now. Let's push that to the top. Backhand blow has been unlocked, which is obviously a defensive tactic. And finally, making our way into modern blitzkrieg. Only took us about 5 years. But we obviously have the organization and the recovery speed for a lot of these areas, so that's exactly what we needed. Texas needs to be improved. The nuclear reactor has been researched, and now we have the nuclear bomb. I don't really want to produce nuclear reactors because they're just so god-awful expensive. 30,000 construction cost. I could easily have 3 civilian factories for 1 nuclear reactor, and I would much rather have 3 civilian factories.
Ordini?
We are still pushing. Everybody's gaining experience, which is nice. These guys are still green. I want this minus 25% penalty to go away. And if we could take Houston, that would be amazing.
Pronto all'azione.
I see a lot of units over here, and it makes me curious as to why they're not really moving to the front line. It's probably a lack of supply. And eventually I want to, start building up this infrastructure. We're almost done. You're going to be on the 10th, which will probably mean we can have more than 37 units here. Another research slot, and I have nothing, absolutely no idea as to what I'm going to unlock. I'm guessing better submarines.
Pronto all'azione.
Alright, you're moving in there. You 3 will move there. I would really like to take Houston, as it probably would give me control of all of Texas. And the idea would mean that I could eventually start building up and repairing the infrastructure. And another thing I'm wondering is, should I even focus on building any more military equipment? Like, obviously we need more, don't get me wrong, but we have a massive, massive surplus of modern tanks. Oh, never mind, only 613. We have a massive surplus of support equipment, though it is dipping. Motorized is slowly dipping as well. Mechanized, we massively need a lot more, and our infantry equipment is being destroyed and devastated. Yeah, it's going the opposite way, so we're not producing enough. Okay, one thing I'm going to do is move these 2 units across the river and you go down. Is it going to work? I have no idea. But looks like it might. And I would like to attack Houston from 2 angles. Do I actually own Texas yet? Not really, as I don't own Dallas. And I don't own Houston. Could I go ahead and attack into Dallas? Is it going to work? I don't know. They have very little supply, while we have a lot. And we're making our way into Houston. All we gotta do is cross the river and then start attacking from that angle. So now we're really going into Houston. I think we're about to take Houston and Dallas. We've taken Dallas. Phenomenal. Are we working on the infrastructure? I would like this to be level 10. Do we have a good naval base here? Probably in Houston. A level 3 naval base. Not good, but not bad. Another thing that we're going to do is build up Houston's naval base. Not by a lot, but just one. And push that to the top. And I need Texas to have better supply. Are we still working on construction repair? Yes, we are. And I think from now on, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm going to be queuing more infrastructure and a lot of other things, but I don't think we really need to work on, you know, too many. Mexico City slowly being repaired. Can we deploy these? Are they 20%? Not yet. So like I was trying to say, I don't know if we're really going to build more and more military factories. We're probably going to focus on things that reduce our ailments. And so that means building up infrastructure, that means building naval bases, and we're slowly pushing through Texas. So if we could somehow do a lot of repairs here and keep people happy, and obviously build up a lot of these, you know, military police, we should be fine. Alright, it's the 1st of January, 1950. We almost own Arizona as well. I want everything to have at least 5 infrastructure. And I'm hoping that way we don't really see any issues. Let's take a quick glance. So we can get a lot of supply into Arizona. But really one of our biggest issues is our lack of infrastructure. And all of the damage that's happening. We're trying to repair it, but every day that we do repair it, it's obviously being broken again. We've pushed all the way to the north. Let's push again on into Oklahoma. So that way, instead of us losing, you know, infrastructure, maybe it'll be Oklahoma. Don't know exactly how that'll work, or if at all, but we could certainly try. Yeah, we're building a lot of military factories, I've noticed. I don't think we need this many, but I'm certainly not going to remove any from the list. Let's start working on a better destroyer. Alright, we finally pushed to the eastern side of Texas, and what's actually kind of surprising is I wonder if this nuclear reactor is going to be ours. That would be pretty amazing. And then we wouldn't have to build anything. Do we need any better radar? We could get a level 6 radar station in Chihuahua. I think I will. Man, there is so much we could do. Alright, let's go ahead and try to finally release these 10 units. I'm probably going to send some on over. You're not ready yet. That makes me nervous. How long until you're 20%? There it is. So all 10 of you are going to go into the resistance map mode. And I'm guessing start working on this area. I see that the British Raj is retaking what they can. We're going to try to do something like this. Is it going to work? I have absolutely no idea. But I'm sure some units will lower the resistance. There's a lot of troops here. Ace pilot promoted. You guys need to come down. I'm going to go ahead and deploy another 10 units, assuming that I even can. No, not really. But at least we could go ahead and use those two, move them over. Are these guys ready? It still looks like we're missing infantry equipment. I wish I could remove all of these. How long until the U.S. actually capitulates? 48% towards capitulation. I'm sure if we pushed on into, you know, California and obviously like New Orleans and Atlanta, it would definitely go very, very, you know, much smoother than before. Alright, we now have a very high amount of infrastructure. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do in terms of actually getting our units to the front line. I have a lot of units here that I want them to move north, but they're just not. And I'm not sure if they're glitched or if they just don't have supply. It's probably a supply issue. So I'm working on that as well. Let's move those to the top. And it looks like Texas is finally being repaired. We now have 8 infrastructure rather than negative 8 rather, I guess, excuse me, 2 infrastructure rather than 0. That's the word I was looking for. Okay, this unit is going to now push into Louisiana. You are going to push over here, and you are going to push here. You're going to push there if we even can. Don't know if that's going to work, but we're going to try. Modern tanks are doing a fantastic job. We're down to 785,000 manpower. Let's see how many the U.S. are at. They're down about 2 million, but we're down about 1 million. Up from before. And we're losing a lot of troops right now as we speak. Alright, this is about to be successful. We are now pushing into Louisiana itself. This unit is not mine. I was about to say it's pushing far too wide. And outstretching itself, which I don't like to see. This construction queue is so long. I wish there was something we could do about it. We're not really trading anything that we don't need. Obviously, we have a lot of oil. I guess we could stop getting oil from Romania and then keep that one teeny weeny civilian factory. Looks like we're about to take another radar station, which is going to be awesome. And though this might be a bad idea, one thing that I'm going to try to do is create an actual fallback line. And just protect our assets here where we can. And all you guys are going to do, destroy this line. Once we put all of our units on this actual fallback line, I think we're going to eventually remaneuver our forces and then try to just focus on the East Coast rather than the West Coast. So let's do this. And I'm not going to activate you yet, but you're going to be given a pretty formidable battle plan, pushing all the way through to Atlanta and Chicago. So I do want both of these bases. Only 10 victory points for Atlanta. Thought it'd be a lot more. I'm sure Chicago's like 30. There it is. Alright, still waiting for all of our troops to finally arrive. Still working on better infrastructure. Still working on better repairs. Let's look at the supply. Because the infrastructure is still damaged, there's not really much we can do. Let's look at our strategic air mode. Still a little bit of an issue, but not as bad as before. I really would like to just take this port, so I think I will.
Avanzate!
No, I guess these are two different areas.
Ordini. Avanzate!
Okay, unlocking a better destroyer. Let's get an even better destroyer. Do we want a final submarine? Oh, our third submarine, not our final one. All of these U.S. troops can't really keep up. I'm sure they're lacking a lot of equipment, just like we are. But their factories are being destroyed. Ours are not. We're finally building more modern tanks, which is good. We have a lot of motorized, which we don't need. We're lacking infantry equipment, but we're slowly getting that efficiency. You would think this would work, and it's not. So why are we having such a hard time taking New Orleans? Well, at least all of our tanks are finally making their way through.
Pronto.
Everybody is gaining experience, which makes me happy, except this one lonesome division. Are we anywhere near level 7? 96%. We're almost there. And we are still working on organization first, which we don't have. So, let's go ahead, finally activate this plan. And I think I want to aggressively execute, but then again, I don't really want to lose units. So I don't know what we're going to do. So, as long as our Mountaineers actually hold the line, and it looks like they're doing a horrible, horrible job at that, we should be fine. Everybody's pushing through. We're about to take New Orleans, or at least I hope so. I want to push into New Orleans. We now have a better fighter, and we're not even producing fighters, so that makes me nervous. Better jet tactical bombers. Alright, well, I guess we unfortunately do need to end this episode, so thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you in our next adventure.